This is What Amit's watching, and I'm Amit. And it's been a little bit since I've done this. I was in Miami last weekend watching the University of Miami beat up on Notre Dame. Go Canes. And so I'm catching up on a bunch of stuff. There's been a bunch of news and a bunch of trailers and a bunch of craziness, but I haven't really seen that many films. But we'll get started off with the news. So some of you guys may remember Nightwing, which was a Batman spin-off of sorts. There's an animated cartoon that went around back in the day, especially I remember when I was a kid. Anyway, they are going to live action production with it, and the dude playing Nightwing is actually the dude from Stranger Things season 2 who played the bully in the show. He's actually an Australian cat, or his dad's New Zealander, his mom's Canadian, but I think he's from Australia. In any event, he's gonna be the new Nightwing. So you're gonna see more of him, and obviously he won't be so much of a bully in this one. So you've obviously heard all the Kevin Spacey news, and obviously with everything going on there, everybody's distancing themselves from Kevin Spacey. So House of Cards is gone. All his other projects he had working with Netflix and other production companies are also gone. He's got a film coming out with Mark Wahlberg called All the Money in the World, which a trailer was actually released. He's actually shot his parts for the film. It was supposed to come out in the near future. And they're reshooting everything he was in with Christopher Plummer playing Kevin Spacey's part. So they're literally trying to just erase Kevin Spacey from everything like he didn't even exist in it, which is, I mean, it's kind of the way things are going. The same is happening to Louis C.K. He's losing distribution. He may lose distribution for his upcoming project as well, which looks pretty interesting. FX has actually dropped him, and all the projects that he has working on with FX, he's got like 3 or 4 different sitcoms or other projects in line at FX. Those are all now on hold or have been canceled. So Kevin Spacey and him are both feeling the same wrath. There's obviously all this news, not obviously, but there's also news going on about whether Gal Gadot would sign on for Wonder Woman 2 if Brett Ratner and Ratpac was still involved. Ratpac is a production company who helped fund the first Wonder Woman and the DC movies in general. And there was a rumor going around that she would not sign on if Ratpac was still involved. She has signed on. She will be doing Wonder Woman 2, and it actually is moving up in the schedule for DC, and I believe Ratpac is actually still involved. So that was literally just all a rumor. So The Rock's big-time DC character, Black Adam, may finally get his big screen debut. He's actually going to be playing Black Adam in Suicide Squad Part 2 that is actually getting made. I didn't hate the first one as everybody else did. I didn't love it either, don't get me wrong, but I didn't hate it as much as everybody else did. In any event, he's going to be in it. Hopefully they'll take a better turn with this one, much like they're trying to do with Justice League that comes out this week. So we'll see how that plays out as well. Speaking of Justice League, Rotten Tomatoes has held off on releasing their tomato meter score for Justice League until Thursday as the movie comes out on Friday. So at 12:01 a.m. on Thursday is when they will actually release what the rating of the film is. If you remember, they released what the rating was for Superman, and I think it was really low, and it crushed and it hurt Superman at the box office. Wonder Woman, the opposite. Batman vs. Superman, the same thing. So they're not releasing it. I don't know who negotiated what with who, but they're not going to release it until Thursday. So we'll see how that plays out for them in general. On top of that, Sly Stallone, who's directing Creed 2, is actually casting for Ivan Drago's son. So Ivan Drago was in Part 4. He's the Russian dude who, played by Dolph Lundgren, who fought Sylvester Stallone and killed Apollo Creed. Spoiler alert. But now, they're trying to cast for Ivan Drago's son, who will obviously fight Michael B. Jordan's character in Creed 2, and, in essence, avenge his father's death, is what I would assume. In news for Showtime, I don't have Showtime, but I do watch a few of the shows. With that being said, I do not watch Shameless. I did enjoy it for seasons 1, 2, and 3, and then it just kind of kept getting more and more ridiculous, and I stopped watching. But I'm in the minority, obviously, because it got picked up for season 9. So it's coming back for another season. So I don't know when. There's no end in sight. The show is apparently trending really, really well. I'm just not a fan personally, or it's just too much for me at this point. But in other Showtime news, Kevin Bacon is actually, is actually doing a show about a gritty, crime-ridden Boston town. He's starring the show and is produced by Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. So that's going to be a Showtime show that's coming out next year. And I'll keep you posted on what's going on with that as far as release dates, etc. In some non-traditional TV film news, So now everybody's making a play for film and TV. It's no longer just the Netflixes, which was the first one to make a play, and Hulu, etc. Now there's a bunch of stuff going on. So first of all, Hulu is going to have a Hitman TV show that's coming care of the guy behind John Wick. So hopefully that could be interesting. Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon have signed on to do a film with Apple about a morning show and the hijinks or whatever involved. I think it's a drama. It's a morning show drama, and it's coming from Apple. Facebook has one. I think it's called Facebook Watch, which is their new venture into scripted television, or non-scripted, but just into television, if you will. They're doing a show with Bill Murray and his brother Brian, I believe his name is. It's a 10-episode show. 8 minutes each episode, pretty much following the brothers as they go to minor league baseball teams to watch baseball and talk shit and do whatever else they do. So I have no idea how that's going to play out, but they're making that play over there. And ESPN is launching a sports center for Snapchat. So that's going to air on 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. in weekdays. And it's a new Snapchat-based sports center. Now, I know nothing about Snapchat. I even know how to use the thing. So I have no idea what the show is going to be about or why you would even do this, but they're going on that avenue. ESPN obviously made the mistake by trying to bring in Barstool Sports and do a show with them on ESPN, and thought they could kind of distance themselves from Barstool, and that blew up in their face. So now this is their second attempt at trying to broaden their user base and the eyes that they're getting. So we'll see how this experiment plays out. And speaking of the digital sphere, Disney is in talks to buy Fox. Although they're not going to include Fox News and Fox Sports. They got ESPN and stuff like that. But they're talking about buying Fox because they want to have a bunch of content, because they're launching their own Netflix competitor. And if they do this, then all your Marvel shows that are on Netflix, your Defenders, your Jessica Jones, etc., will go back to Disney. And Disney's actually pulling a bunch of stuff from Netflix anyway, because they're having their own base. And if they have the Fox stuff, then they got all the X-Men stuff as well, which is Marvel specific, obviously, but then you have a bunch of other Fox products, Fox TV shows, you have Fox films, etc. All those things are going to go to Disney, and then that'll be actual real competition for Netflix. Speaking of Netflix, they are doing another season of this awesome British show called Top Boy. And if you have ever seen Top Boy, it's a grimy, it's like The Wire-ish. It's drugs and stuff like that. In the UK, season 1 and 2 are already out on Netflix, and the show is fun and awesome. Fun meaning, I mean, it's grimy, but it's awesome. So season 3 is going to be done, and I'm looking forward to that one. I think that comes out next year for Netflix users. And finally, a little bit of childhood news, Super Mario Brothers is actually coming out with an animated show, and it's coming from the guys who did Despicable Me. So could be kind of cool. We've tried the Super Mario Brothers live action business with John Leguizamo, and I forgot the dude's name, but the dude in Roger Rabbit, he's a British cat, but he's not British. But anyway, and it was horrible. Dennis Hopper was in it. It was really, really bad. If you get a chance to see a bad movie, check that one out. It is pretty horrible. But this animated one, hopefully, will be pretty cool. Despicable Me people were hilarious and came up with a really cool character. So hopefully good things come from this as well. And that's what I got for you there. And now we'll talk about some movie trailers. So there's a lot of movie trailers that came out between last week and this particular recording. And they're going to be all down below. I'm just going to list a bunch of them and get into a brief description of what they are. So things to check out. The Crown Season 2, which is coming back on Netflix. That's Queen Elizabeth. Season 1 is really good. So Season 2 is coming out. 50 Shades Freed, which is the last in the 50 Shades trilogy. I've seen none of these films, and I've heard they're all horrible to date. So it's the last one. So for you fans, you can enjoy it. It's going to come around Valentine's Day, obviously. Coco, which is an animated film, which is about it's like the Dia de los Muertos backdrop in Mexico. I don't really know much about the premise. It didn't look that interesting to me. The Post, which is Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks, and I forgot the news story they're reporting on. I believe it's Watergate, but I'm not sure. But anyway, it looks like a pretty cool, interesting film. Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks teaming up again, which is generally good things. Mosaic is an HBO show coming out from Steven Soderbergh, but it actually has a really cool interactive aspect. There's actually an app you can download, and the app will actually allow you to kind of tailor the way the story goes. You know, remember those flip around books you used to have back in the day? It says if you want to fight so and so, flip to this page. That kind of premise ish. So the app's supposed to do that. Apparently, the show is much of the same. I just don't know how it works when you're watching the show, but check out the app. I haven't downloaded it yet, but it's Soderbergh, it's HBO. I expect good things from them. Peter Rabbit, which is CGI rabbits taking over a dude's house, and dudes don't like rabbits, and the rabbits are voiced by James Corden and a bunch of other people. Looks obviously child friendly, but not so comedic that I want to check it out. Dark, which is a show coming out on Netflix, and that has it's time travel and kids being lost, and there's an alternate world, and it's really weird. But that comes out soon enough. The Shape of Water, which is Guillermo del Toro's latest, which is getting great reviews, about this creature that lives in the water and falls in with this lady who works at this lab where the creature is held, and she frees the creature, and then craziness happens. Michael Shannon's in it as well. Looks very Guillermo del Toro-esque, so that comes out as well. Game Night, which is a film with Rachel McAdams, Kyle Chandler, and Jason Bateman, which is a comedy. In essence, they're playing a game, and the premise of the game is that somebody's going to kidnap so-and-so, but it's all a hoax, but really isn't, because things go awry. Hostels, which is Christian Bale in a Western, and I don't know if the Hostels represents the white man or the American Indian, the Native American, who are represented in this film as well. So I don't know who the Hostels represents, but that film's coming out later this year. Pirates of Somalia, which is the dude who was in Captain Phillips, who played a Somali pirate in that one. So the film premise is, and the guy who plays the main character is a dude who played, I forgot the character's name, but Quicksilver from the latest X-Men films. So he's the main character. He wants to be a big-time reporter. Al Pacino is kind of his mentor, if you will, and tells him that the way to become a big-time reporter is based on a true story is to just get embedded and go down and ask people and learn about it. So he left and went to Somalia and just became and hung out with the drug runners and the drug dealers and tried to learn about their lifestyle, what was going on, and reports on it, and it looks very interesting, actually. And finally is Basmati Blues, which is Brie Larson works for a rice manufacturers come up with this new type of rice, and she's got to go to India because they are obviously the biggest rice consumers to pitch this rice or show them how to do this or whatever it is. So it's Brie Larson, fish out of water. She's in India, learning from the farmers and so on and so forth, and becomes a love story, and overall looks pretty cheesy to start off with. And that's it. So in things coming out this week, two things to look out for this week are Justice League comes out in theaters. You can check that out. I'm going to check it out myself. As I mentioned before, there is no rating for it, so I don't know what it's really going to be like, but I'm hearing that it's actually just entertaining. Nothing amazing, but entertaining. Punisher is coming on Netflix, which will come out on Friday. So that's going to come on. That's actually it's weird because I'm seeing a bunch of stuff, and it's like it's either the best or the worst Marvel show on Netflix, which I don't even know how you do that, but that's what's coming out there. So I'm going to check that out on Friday. And the two other films that are coming out this week are Roman J. Israel Esquire, which is a Denzel Washington film that I talked about last week, which it's getting middle-of-the-tier reviews, but it's Denzel, so I'm sure his performance is good, but I don't know how the film plays very well because it's not really trending that well. And what I've read is it's just okay. So I'm not like rushing out to see it myself. And the other one is Mudbound, and Mudbound is a Netflix film. It's actually getting a limited release in theaters, and then it's going right to Netflix, which is a new thing Netflix is doing because they normally don't do any theatrical release, or they do day and date, where they put out the same day in both places. So that film, that film Mudbound is getting great reviews and across the board. So I'm really excited to see that myself. I believe it comes out on Netflix next week or after Thanksgiving, so we'll wait for it there. And that's what Amit's got. And that's been another episode of What Amit's Watching. I'm Amit. Please subscribe with the link below. Please share this with your friends. Please let me know your thoughts by way of what you want me to cover that I'm not covering. And if you're going to be a part of the show, let me know if you want to do that. We can have a little conference call, a little Skype type conversation. and get your thoughts on film and TV and where you think the industry is going and the craziness that is the film and TV industry currently. Besides that, I'm Amit. Have a great day. Talk soon.